AMP2.TV presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Hi, welcome to You and Your Doctor, where living a healthier and longer life is part of our mission. We are being produced by AMP2 TV and proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where patients are the heart of their business. And I do have to say that when it comes to that critical time where your loved one in their senior years needs health care, at-home health care, whatever level, skill level is necessary, All County Healthcare will be there. They have compassion, they care about their patients, and they know how to listen and make them feel warm and comforted. So, if you have any questions whatsoever for All County Healthcare, please give them a call at 888-717-7170. Ask for Maddie. She would love to answer any of your questions. You can usually find us here every Tuesday evening between the hours of 6 and 7. We're streaming live on 1470 AM and 95.3 FM. And we're also, I want to say hey to our Facebook friends, because we're streaming live on Facebook on All County Healthcare. So welcome. If you have any questions at all for our guests, we have some really great guests tonight. We not only have a psychologist, which is really, really important, but we also have a very holistic cardiologist who incorporates all various aspects of health and well-being into his practice. But without any further ado, I'd love to introduce you to our dear Dr. Lori Ben Ezra.
Ezra.
Ben Ezra. Dr. Lori Ben Ezra.
Feel free, just Dr. Lori works.
Okay, great. And she's going to talk to us about the holidays. And sometimes it's a little difficult. You know, there's a lot of emotional strain that's going on because everything's so high tension at this moment. And so she's going to discuss with us some of the things that we can watch out for when it comes to our parents, our elderly parents, and then also what to look for within our own selves. And so welcome.
Thank you.
It is great to have you here. Thank you for taking time out to be with us.
My pleasure, Lorena. It's very nice to sit down and talk about this important subject with you tonight.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people get overly stressed about the holidays. There's a lot of pressure.
Yes.
A lot of pressure to just make things perfect, get the right gifts, cook the right foods, and do it all while balancing work and family and all kinds of obligations. So the first tip I want to share with our listeners tonight is you don't have to do it all. It's fine to let the ball drop. And I'm going to say this repeatedly, but getting things done, it's just done is better than perfect.
I think that's some great advice. And you know something, if you're dealing with balls, now we're talking right now about ornaments, I want you to pretend that it's not a glass ornament, it's a rubber ball. Okay? So if you drop the rubber ball, it's just going to bounce back to you, and then you can finish whatever it is that you need to do, but not to get too uptight about it.
Absolutely. And take whatever help anybody has to offer. I know sometimes that's hard, and we all want to be doing it all and getting the glory for making the turkey and baking the cookies and getting the perfect presents. But if somebody wants to do that for you, I strongly encourage you to take up that help and make life easier.
I love that. So there's the bottom line. Please, whatever you do, ask for help. You don't have to do it by yourself. And not only that, but when you share the load, other people really enjoy working with you then. They want to work with you.
Exactly. And keep in mind, it's about creating a nice occasion and memories for your family. And it is nice to include other people. So maybe one person has that special cake that they make. it's important for them to be able to contribute and for them to receive
absolutely
the good wishes and the gratitude for doing their part as well.
Yes, and the praise, the pat on the back.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yes, everybody could pitch in.
Yes.
And it's a nice intergenerationally to have everybody pitch in. So young kids can do their part in decorating and wrapping, and, Grandma and Grandpa can bring their favorite recipe from, growing up and sharing it with everybody too.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So give us a little bit about your background. Where do you come from? Where did you go to school? How long have you been in practice?
So I am originally from upstate New York.
Okay.
Rochester. And
it's a little cold up there now.
A little colder than it is here right now.
I know. I'm from Chicago, and I'm going there next week, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just heard it was 10 below there. I'm like, oh my goodness. So you're from
So I'm from upstate New York.
Okay.
That's where I did my undergrad in Binghamton. I went to Binghamton University.
Oh, okay.
It's become a family alma mater for our whole entire family, and I'm very proud of the education that I received there. And in fact, I was there about a week and a half ago.
Oh no.
And freezing, but enjoying some warm-hearted experiences, having a reunion with friends, and seeing the campus, and it's always special to go back.
That is wonderful.
Crazy thing is, I met my husband there, and he is a Miami man.
Yeah. So he had to travel all the way up to upstate New York to be able to find you, huh?
He had to.
Oh my goodness.
So we applied to grad school together, and I got my PH.D. at the University of Miami, and I've remained here throughout the rest of my clinical training, and I have a practice in Hollywood right now.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So how long have you been in practice?
So I've been licensed for over 20 years, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, and it's nice to be able to say that because with all those years comes a nice amount of seasoning and experience.
Wisdom.
Yes. Yes. I don't have to talk to people about my experience or my education anymore. I think it speaks for themselves. So, the gray hairs that you see on the top here.
I'm sorry. I don't see any.
It's okay. They're earned, and they're some of my biggest commercials. So
I love that. I love that. So, in talking about our senior citizens, and especially at this time, a lot of times what ends up happening is that if their family isn't around or their family doesn't come down, they can feel very heartbroken. Have you experienced any of that in your practice?
So I do work with a lot of families who have elderly relatives, both locally and out of the area, and it is a stress. It can be as much of a stress worrying about your relative out of the area as worrying how to cope with what's going to happen when the family gets together and not knowing what grandma or grandpa's going to be capable of or what he's going to say. And so there's different ways to deal depending. If your loved one's out of the area, reach out to a local community center, a church, a synagogue. Oftentimes, they'll have ways to help out with a senior who's by themselves.
Oh, that's great advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really, yes. Because a lot of times, they're sitting there, they're isolated. They can't drive anymore. Or they've got, their little walker. So they're really not out walking. They're not meeting people. So that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, and unfortunately, their social support shrinks as we age. So if we, on the other hand, can find it in our hearts to open up our homes and our tables to seniors who might be in our own community who are in need of a family, it's something to think about and to reach out. They're very appreciative.
Yeah, and something that brings up a great comment too, and that is that your neighbors, you might have somebody right next door and they're all by themselves, and you could be by yourself or with your family or whatever. Reach out to them. They would love to connect, and not only that, they have such fabulous stories about their life. Yeah, and all they want to do is be able to share that energy with them.
I agree, Lorena, and what I try to tell people, because inviting guests into my home is something that I try to do on a regular basis, is that guests don't care what you're serving for your meal.
No, and they don't even care what the house looks like, you know?
They don't clean extra, don't make extra food. All they want is company.
Yes.
And you're doing such a good deed by opening your home and your heart to somebody who might be lonely. And that's the elderly, that's single people of all ages. All they want is to be connected. And the holiday time, instead of being a lonely time, can be one of shared celebration.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, talk to us, give us a little insight as to what we might need to take a look at when we do visit our parents or the grandparents. You know, sometimes if we're, busy in our own life and what we're doing, we're working, we're raising kids, that type of thing. What are some of the signs that tells us that our mom and dad, or mom or dad, might be in trouble?
So there's a couple things to look at, Lorena. There's, first of all, more of the physical capabilities. Are they showering? Are they dressing? Are they still able to drive? If not, how are they managing those skills? A quick look in the refrigerator, making sure that they are having healthy food and still have the ability to make good choices in what they're buying at the grocery store will give you insight as to how they're taking care of themselves. Mentally, watch how they're repeating themselves. If they're asking the same questions every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I know it would be easy to lose patience. Generally, your senior relative is not doing that to get on your nerves.
Exactly. And as a matter of fact, they don't even know that they're doing it.
Correct.
Because they've forgotten already.
Yes.
So that's early signs of the dementia or
Correct.
Alzheimer's.
Right, Alzheimer's is a specific type of dementia, but all kinds, I'm just going to call it cognitive decline.
Okay.
When your relative's no longer able to make decisions or remember if they ate, remember if they showered, you remember who they've seen or what day of the week it is.
Well, I can't even go into that one. Sometimes I can't even remember what day of the week it is. I'll wake up and I'll say, okay, what's today? What is today? Where do I need to go?
and that's a good point. Having moments of confusion are perfectly okay. It's when there's a pattern. So just because mom forgot your birthday doesn't mean that you should be packing her up and putting her in the assisted living facility. It needs to be a pattern. So if mom is confused on a regular basis and that's when you need to make some good decisions about keeping her safe.
Yes.
Safe and healthy is a motto that I use all the time.
Do you? Oh.
Yes. So, oftentimes we're concerned about making sure that our seniors are happy. Happy is happy is the frosting on the cake.
Absolutely.
But safe and healthy are important.
Well, something. If our seniors feel safe and they feel satisfied and fulfilled at some level, then it increases their quality of life, which increases the quantity of life.
Absolutely, and sometimes it means making a choice to enrich mom or dad's life in ways that they might not have been doing before, such as reaching out to community centers who have an abundance of activities. There's a national program called Silver Sneakers.
Oh, yes, I've heard of that.
That is run by local YMCAs and JCCs, and having mom or dad get to one of those programs is a way to remain physically active, keep in touch with others, and even if they've never been active before, it's just a way to get out of the house and connected.
Yes, absolutely. And then there's also, from what I know of, the daycare centers for the elderly as well, for the seniors, where they can get out of the house. There's bus transportation. They get out of the house. They have different types of activities. They get to socialize and mingle with people of their own age and be able to, they look forward to something.
Exactly.
And I think that's what's so important, is that we have to allow ourselves to look forward to something.
Right, and having a daily routine is important too. Because otherwise, you sit in the same chair watching the same TV shows.
Yes.
I know in Broward there are regional, what they call focal point centers, and they provide activities for seniors on a daily basis.
Wow.
And again, it might be talking about books and current affairs, having holiday celebrations, and it's a place to go where you are having conversations with your peers and somebody knows your name and they can smile and say welcome.
Yes.
And that feels good.
So I just want to tell our audience, first of all, I'd like to thank All County Healthcare for bringing on these doctors, these professionals, because I will tell you that we have the top-notch experts in the field. So that's number one. Number two, if you have any questions for our Dr. Lori tonight, as she has said we can call her.
Absolutely, Lorena.
Please give us a call at 888-565-1470. Call in. We would love to hear any questions that you might have for Dr. Lori, our psychologist, this evening. And we would, we welcome anything that we can do to help you live a longer and healthier life, number one, but also relieve the stress and the pain or anguish, confusion that you might be going through, especially if you have one of your parents that are living down here and you're up north.
For sure.
Yes.
And there might be resources that we can share that would be helpful and take the burden off.
Absolutely. And All County Healthcare is one of those places that you can call. Their telephone number is 888-717-7170, and ask for Maddie. She would love to answer any of your questions that you might have. And the other thing that I wanted to mention also, just in case you ended up missing our program tonight or you've had to cut it short, we are also broadcasting on 95.3 FM at 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock on Tuesdays. So just in case you missed our show tonight, you still have the opportunity of being able to listen at a pre-recorded time. And Maddie is more than happy to answer any of those questions, whether we're on the air or not. Just write down the number. And then if you really want to get a hold of Dr. Lori and she's already off the program, call Maddie. For all your needs, just call Maddie.
Sure, and Maddie and her team of nurses, they're available to assess your senior relative.
Yes.
And
very important.
Help you make a decision and guide you in a professional manner.
Yeah. I mean, as they said, patients are the heart of their business. They have great patience. Great patience.
Good one, Lorena.
Very caring, very compassionate, but a skill set of listening, and that's what's so important.
And sometimes, as the relative, it's very hard to distance ourselves emotionally from making the decision, and reaching out for professional guidance at a time like that.
That's a great point.
Is very important.
Yeah, that is a great point.
Because Maddie and her staff understand seniors and where they are physically and emotionally, and can really take the guesswork out of making the right decision for your relative.
That is a very good point. You're absolutely right. So in moving forward, okay, we've got a lot of the holidays that are upon us, but moving forward after the holidays, because sometimes what happens is that, our relatives get really, really excited because, the family's coming down finally, or the family's meeting again, and there's a lot of busyness and anticipation. And then all of a sudden, the holiday ends, and then that's it. And it's kind of like, they almost go through like a post-depression because everyone's gone and they don't have anything else to look forward to. Do you have some tips for them in that regard?
That's a good point, Lorena. So sometimes it's very exciting for seniors to see all the grandchildren, back for the holidays, and they're all grown up and they have families of their own, and then sort of spreads out and you miss that contact. What's nice is if families can set up a schedule where each person is contacting grandma, whether it's once a week. So if she hears from each of 5 grandchildren once a week, That's 5 phone calls. Some grandparents are more computer savvy. A little email, sending pictures of great-grandchildren,
I love that.
sharing different events that are going on in your life that might not be local anymore.
Right.
And keep in mind, besides emailing, it's nice to get a card every now and then.
That's such a lost art.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to tell you the last time I sent a card, but I have received some, and I'm just looking at it like, wow.
And so for us, that
That's
might be
so
special.
cool.
It's special.
It is, yeah. So if it's special for us, then it's special for them as well.
Well, not only that, but their mindset is still, oh, it's my birthday and nobody sent me a card.
Yes.
So maybe going back and being a little more retro in the way that we deal with Grandma and Grandpa.
I like that. Retro. I like that. The other thing, too, though, that I feel is really important, it's okay to be the computer savvy and send pictures that way, but I've got to tell you, just 2 days ago, I went to Walgreens, and I've got tons of pictures on my phone, and I sat down and I started going through these, and I made copies, physical hard copies. I have got to tell you, the seniors, they love the physical ability of being able to see it, because a lot of times they don't want to go on the computer.
Right.
But they love to just sit there and look and gaze, and they're sending this love energy. And I've got to tell you, you can feel it. Whether you're in the room or you're not, you can feel when Grandma or Grandpa are sending love to you.
And not only that, how nice it is when you go and you visit them the next time, and there's that picture that you sent, front and center in their room.
Yes.
And that's what they're looking at when they go to sleep and when they wake up.
Yes, absolutely. So, and the other thing that I also say is that if you go and visit, and especially now during the holidays, take your iPad or your iPhone or Android, whatever, and videotape the conversations. Allow yourself to sit and ask them questions. Keep those memories alive that they have. But the other thing, too, what I tell everybody, put yourself in the video. Don't leave yourself out. So that means like a selfie along with, Grandma and Grandpa here.
Multi-generational selfie.
Yes, I love it. But videotape it so you can hear their voice, and hear their expressions. And it's so powerful.
It's great to have the technology available to do that.
Yes.
Building on that, having your grandma or grandpa talk about their time growing up and their relatives and building a sense of genealogy and history.
Oh, I love that idea.
Is a nice way to both connect and to have that memory forever.
Yes, absolutely. And because we lose it. My mom's told me so many different stories, and then she tells me, she says, "Don't you remember?" And I'm like, I don't remember. No, Mom, I don't. Why don't you remember? She really gets after me because I don't. I'm busy being in the present and moving forward. And what do I have to do tomorrow? So those memories aren't as vivid.
And just archiving them very simply.
Yes.
You just have a folder on your computer.
Exactly.
Grandma, Grandpa, or Jones family history.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, what is some of your favorite memories?
Exactly.
Because a lot of, I've worked with the elderly as well. I'm a life and energy coach, so I've worked with the elderly, and what I find is that they've got these certain memories that they go back to that they just love. Like, one was riding a camel in Egypt, and she's 91. That was her favorite.
And it's very easy to lose perspective and look at the elderly and not understand that they were young once and exploring the world and what that was like for them.
Yes.
And having them share that experience and relive it is an important bonding experience.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It helps them emotionally.
You're absolutely right, because what I find out is that they can still feel. It's almost as if they go back there. They recreate those memories, and then they step back, and all of a sudden you can just see their body language, and they're riding that camel.
Aren't there times in our lives that stick out as those poignant experiences?
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
So helping to get your relative to talk about them is a nice way. It's both for connection and to help them feel better and exciting.
Well, Dr. Lori, this is so wonderful. So if you've not heard, these are the major points to be aware of, so that your loved one doesn't feel so alone at Christmas. Well, first of all, as you said, have the grandkids or yourself just call, once a week and allow them to feel the love and the energy still. Also, incorporate them into your festivities. Have them help you, whether it's kneading bread or making cookies. Bring everybody together. Make it a habit of listening and not correcting. Okay, that's one of the really important things, because I know I've dealt with dementia, Alzheimer's before, and we can get into this space where all of a sudden we're correcting. Well, that's not what happened.
Right.
But something that's not important.
Let it go.
Let it go. And something? Ask them to tell you again.
Yeah.
And then again. Just allow them to be a part of that energy and the love that you have for them and that they have for you. And then videotape their voices, their experiences, and make sure that you're in the picture as well. And if you need to get a hold of Dr. Lori, would you please tell our audience what your telephone number is and where you're located? I know you're in Hollywood, but...
Sure. My office is in Hollywood on Sheridan and 46th Avenue in the Emerald Hills section.
Okay.
And my phone number is 954-641-8700.
Okay, great. Well, I can't tell you what a pleasure it's been to have you on our show tonight. And if you have any questions for Dr. Lori and you didn't quite get her telephone number, just call Maddie. Everything, just call Maddie.
Maddie knows.
Yes. Oh, I like that. Maddie knows. 888-717-7170. So we're going to break for commercial. So don't go away, because we have a holistic cardiologist who's coming on next. And I'm very excited to talk with him. And stay tuned. We'll be right back.
All County Healthcare, Inc. is locally owned and operated, serving the Tri-County area, Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward counties for the last 25 years. The practice of medicine is changing dramatically. All County Healthcare, Inc. still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare Home Care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision, and only your decision, on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096.
Getting older is not for sissies. That's what one of my patients says. And it's funny, but it's true. Live long enough and you'll get arthritis, skin cancer, probably one of the common chronic diseases like CHF, COPD, diabetes. At All County Healthcare, we teach you how to manage your disease. We make sure you know how to take your medications and how to recognize signs and symptoms before requiring hospitalization, no matter how many visits it takes. You didn't move to Florida to be sick. You moved here to enjoy the rest of your life. And that's exactly what our team of nurses, therapists, and aides at All County Healthcare help you do.
You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Lorena Anderson, your life and energy coach, and this is You and Your Doctor, teaching you how to live a longer and healthier life, presented by AMP2 TV and sponsored by All County Healthcare, where patients are the heart of their business. So we have a very exciting, talk about the heart of their business, we have a very exciting guest this evening for our last half-hour segment. And his name is Dr. Splaver, and he's a cardiologist, but he also attributes the fact that he is a holistic cardiologist, where he takes into account your entire being, just not the heart, but also what makes the heart work so well. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Splaver.
Hi, thank you very much for having me today.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Well, it's awesome being here.
It's wonderful to have you here.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from, your schooling.
I grew up in New York and went to college in Manhattan. I attended the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in the Bronx.
Oh my goodness, I love Albert.
After that, we moved to Florida, where I did my training at Mount Sinai Medical Center on Miami Beach as well as Jackson.
Oh wow!
And I did my fellowship in cardiovascular disease and started my practice up in Hollywood, Florida, where I've incorporated aspects of holistic type medicine in addition to the traditional. Because at the end of the day, cardiovascular disease is more than just blood pressure and cholesterol. It's about taking care of the whole being, taking care of the whole patient.
Yes, because as you said, I love their tagline, all county healthcare, where patients are the heart of their business. Well, it is the heart that keeps you alive. Sure. And if you're not taking care of that heart through your various diets or exercise and how you're treating yourself, say goodbye.
All falls apart.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's really important that you keep your cardiovascular system in top-notch shape, as well as looking at other aspects in your life other than, popping pills, but also looking at the exercise, looking at your diet, looking at ways to de-stress, to get into that Zen zone, because we found that patients that are able to do that actually do quite well and do better long term.
Well, I like the way you said the Zen zone. That's very cool. What do you teach in order to help them get in that Zen zone?
It's very interesting you mentioned it. Patients or people in general have very, very hectic lives. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of angst out there. And, obviously, in addition to regular exercise, which not only do I propose that people should do, but they should also meditate. People need to meditate. They need to do breathing exercises, whether it be vipassana or pranayama, box breathing. All of these things help people. Yeah,
you probably just spoke right over their heads.
Exactly. But there are ways that one can train themselves using breathing exercises, using meditation, using mantras to help them get into that Zen-like state.
Yes. So one of the things also that I end up teaching is how to breathe from your diaphragm, from down below, from your belly, and breathe deep, breathe slow, and come all the way down. Make your belly nice and big, like it was a balloon. And then, as you exhale, collapse the belly all the way, because what you're doing is you're not only detoxifying your lungs, because you're probably breathing up here, so you're not connecting to the rest of the body, but the other thing too is that you're relaxing the cardiovascular system.
Correct.
And your heart.
Correct. Breathing is very, very much associated, actually attached to your autonomic system. And if you're able to get in touch with, or at least get control over your breathing, you're able to get control over that autonomic system, the hormones that cause stress, the hormones that cause angst, and you're able to actually slow down the cardiovascular system. You're able to cause more relaxation. You're able to actually improve blood pressure, not to mention other cardiovascular benefits.
Oh my goodness, yeah, and stress, number one killer.
Yep.
And part of it is that we're not breathing. We shallow breathe. We breathe from up here, and we never come back down into the body. And here, your body's, crying for you. It needs that oxygen, that pure, clean oxygen.
Yeah, it definitely does.
So tell us about more about your business. Where are you located? How did they get a hold of you?
Okay, my practice, Nano Health Associates, is located in Hollywood, Florida. We are located right adjacent to Memorial Regional South, and I'm a cardiovascular specialist at Memorial Regional Hospital, part of their team over there. Take care of patients from cardiac prevention all the way to heart failure, as well as patients who need bypass, stenting, not to mention taking care of blood pressure and cholesterol and all those other things that you think about. But we also deal as well with inflammatory processes, diabetes, thyroid, not to mention gut health. Gut health is very much attached to inflammation as well as cardiovascular disease.
Talk to us a little bit about gut health. I mean, because sometimes some of our audience might not know exactly what you're speaking about.
Okay. So many patients complain of having issues, whether they're bloated or having gas or having intermittent bouts of diarrhea and constipation, given that diagnosis of IBS, or inflammatory bowel syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome. When in essence, at the end of the day, it really isn't a diagnosis. It's more of a diagnosis of exclusion, or an umbrella wastebasket diagnosis, because there's a lot more going on. Whether they have what we call dysbiosis, or they have bacterial overgrowth, or if they have
okay, that kind of went over my head there. Bacterial overgrowth.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Basically, there are bacteria. Those little organisms that live inside your colon, that live inside your gut, and they're responsible for maintaining the health of your gut. You need a good mix of bacteria inside your colon to maintain that health. Well, if you end up going on antibiotics, or if you end up with some certain types of infections, it can disrupt that balance.
That's right.
And and that disruption can actually affect the health of the lining of the stomach and the colon, allowing for inflammatory chemicals, as well as inflammatory markers to actually rise and cause other issues, whether it be cardiovascular disease or stroke or peripheral vascular disease, not to mention brain fog, and there are other non-cardiovascular health issues that you can actually quell or deal with when dealing with the gut.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know a lot of individuals that end up, I mean, our whole society has taken antibiotics, and some of the problems that we've dealt with also is that when a doctor prescribes it, we don't take it all. We'll take 3 or 4 days of it, and then we stop it. So, it ends up creating
more problems.
Absolutely.
Much more problems. It's funny, because when I speak to my patients in general, if they're going on a certain medication, if they have to take it more than twice a day, there's no chance they're ever going to complete or at least continue with that regimen. Because I use the example of antibiotics. If you're on an antibiotic that has to be taken 3 times a day, how often do we end up with extra pills at the end?
Right.
Which can cause bigger problems. You forget. You're busy. You forget. You don't take it. And those missed doses.
But doesn't it build up antibodies then, where then all of a sudden
it's not really a matter of antibodies. It's a matter of training, not killing off the bacteria that really need to be killed off, and allowing for them to basically overcome whatever antibiotics you throw at them, because you've selected for the stronger strains of bacteria. You've allowed those strains to persist despite the fact that you treated them partially.
Yep. It's kind of like I tell some of my clients, get it all out, relieve it all, take exactly what you're supposed to, because it's almost like a boil. And if you leave any little core piece, it's just going to inflame and fester again. So exactly the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have told us that you're holistic. Talk to us more about how then do you treat these various ailments?
So, for example, many times when people come to my office, patients come to my office who will have an issue like, for example, high blood pressure. High blood pressure. So many times people are given a prescription for a pill, for a medication to help lower their blood pressure. Well, there are causes for blood pressure problems. There are root causes that can actually cause people's blood pressure to go up, whether it be sleep apnea that was undiagnosed, whether it be a vitamin D deficiency, whether it be a problem with blood flow to a kidney. All of these things can be addressed, all these things can be corrected, and all these things actually will impact your blood pressure for the better. Believe it or not, if you are able to, and you're given clearance, regular exercise, moderate exercise, can actually lower your systolic blood pressure, that top number, down by about 20 millimeters of mercury, 20 points.
Really?
So I say to my patients, listen, what would you rather do? Take a pill for the rest of your life, or would you like to start exercising?
Yeah.
What works better for you?
I'm hoping that they pick exercising.
Many times they do. Most of the time they do. There are those that say, forget it, I just want to take my pill and leave me alone. But education's important.
Yes.
Giving the patient's family the information so that they can make an honest and an informed decision of how they can handle their health.
I like that. Yes, absolutely. So, what are some of the exercises that you share with your patients?
Okay, so it's funny. I tell patients they should exercise. They should exercise regularly. But if you have someone who comes into the office who's not an exerciser, someone who is a couch potato, someone who's never exercised before, first and foremost, you need to get clearance from your doctor. You want to make sure that it's appropriate for you to exercise. Once you get that clearance, I then tell my patients, okay, exercise is something that you're going to have to do for the rest of your life. You better find something that you enjoy doing, whether it be biking or rowing or swimming or walking, whatever floats your boat. As long as you enjoy doing it, it's going to make the experience a positive one, reinforce it, and actually encourage you to do more of it. So I tell them, pick something that you actually enjoy. I then tell them as follows. Okay, you've picked something that you enjoy doing, put on the calendar an appointment to exercise. Try it maybe once, maybe twice a week for a month. Just do it once or twice a week.
I love that. Put it on the calendar.
You made it here today for your appointment in my office. You need to make an appointment to exercise. And if you miss your appointment to exercise is going to be pissed off at you. So I phrase it that way. And I tell them at the end of a month, what you do is you add an extra day of exercise into your regimen. Or increase the amount of time that you're doing your exercise for.
Great idea.
It doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you're doing something that you enjoy.
Yes.
And you get your heart rate up. And for those patients that are seasoned in exercise, I tell them maybe push it up, step it up a notch. So many times you go off to LA Fitness, you go to one of these gyms, and you see people there talking on their phones or talking with their buddies, and that's not exercise. Exercise has to be a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah,
you should be dying.
Yes.
But it should be an activity that it's a little
yourself, though.
You have to push yourself. You have to sweat.
Yes.
And I tell my patients,
that's what I tell
how
them.
did you sweat today?
Yeah, I love
How
it.
did you sweat today?
I love it. Well, I used to be a fitness trainer.
Oh, really?
At LA Fitness.
Okay.
A long time ago.
Sure.
And one of the things that I said, oh, you got to sweat. That's the bottom line.
You have to sweat.
Get that motor running, and not only that, it builds your energy as well.
It does. If you find, at least, or I tell my patients, if you exercise early in the day, it sets the tone for the day. It gives you energy.
Yes.
It gives you confidence.
Yes.
It gives you poise. So that way, when you have to tackle that problem in the office, when you have to go home to the family, it gives you that strength. It gives you that focus so you can hit it all cylinders.
Yes, absolutely. And especially for our seniors. One of the best things that I have experienced is being able to go to the pool every morning and doing your aerobics, your aqua aerobics in the pool, because it reduces the impact on your joints.
Yeah.
So, and I've known many seniors that have, been at the pool every day. I see them.
Which is, it's an awesome way of exercising. I tell my patients who have orthopedic issues, whether it be hips or knees or whatnot, listen, you can't run on a treadmill, you can't row, but guess what? You can walk in a pool. Just walking in a pool. Low impact, but get that heart rate up. Or swim.
And not only that, it's got that resistance because you're walking through the water.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly, which has benefit all around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what about diet? Because you also said that you incorporate diet and also supplements.
Sure, of course. One of the interesting things that we've found over the years is that, unfortunately, the American diet, the standard American diet, or SAD, has...
SAD, sad?
Sad. Has actually wreaked havoc on our health.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, all the processed foods that we've incorporated into our diet has actually increased our weight problem.
Yes.
Has increased diseases like blood pressure, as well as diabetes.
Yeah.
And I tell my patients, listen, at the end of the day, I'm not telling you can never eat this again, but you have to be
But you can't eat it every single day.
You can't eat it every single day.
No.
And I tell them, what we really should be doing? You should be shopping the perimeter of your supermarket. If you look at your supermarket, the way it's designed, the perimeter of the supermarket is everything that's perishable. Everything can potentially go bad.
I didn't even realize that. You're
if you
absolutely
shop
right.
the perimeter of the supermarket, you're getting fresh vegetables, you're getting dairy, you're getting meats, you're getting things that nature intended on you eating.
Yes.
The interior of the supermarket is more processed foods, things that are easily digested and actually increase your weight, cause you to become fat. So if you can limit that, that's all a very good thing to do. And there are many different ways one can actually approach diet. There are many different ways. Different diets work for different people. Some people need to be on a low glycemic index diet, like the for an extreme of that would be the Atkins diet. The lesser extreme would be a paleo diet, or the South Beach diet, or the Zone. That works well with some people. Weight Watchers is another way.
Something, and that's what I was going to say. I mean, and not that we're promoting any particular here.
I'm just giving you examples.
Just examples,
that
yes.
actually can work for you.
But I have to say, Weight Watchers is one of the best ones. It helps you keep
the weight off. They actually found in studies that with diets out there, Weight Watchers actually keeps the weight off longer than most of the diets out there.
Yes.
And the biggest problem is when people yo-yo. When people,
that's so bad for your heart.
Down, it's bad for cardiovascular disease. It's bad for your metabolism. It all boils down to metabolism. Yeah. And as we mature, as we get older, our metabolism slows down, and then kick in also the hormonal changes that go with aging. All of that will wreak havoc with your weight and your ability to at least metabolize what you have to. Your sugar, your diabetic state. So all these things play a very big role. All these things need to be tailored to our patients according to their, whether it be body type or their metabolism or their needs or even their cultural preferences.
Yes.
Some things won't float in one culture, whereas they will in another.
Yes.
So a bigger thing that that I've seen work in a certain patient population is intermittent fasting. You
went really fast over that one.
So I'm from New York. We speak very quickly.
Okay. I'm listening really quickly too. Could you tell?
Intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting works very nicely. It trains the body to burn fat.
What does that mean? Explain that to us.
So there are different ways one can do it. In one particular example, patients will only eat between the hours, for example, of 12 noon and 8 o'clock at night. And that's it. You can have water, you can have coffee outside those hours, but do not eat beyond those times. There are those programs that maybe narrow it from 12 to 6. There are some that will have an alternate day type strategy where they're fasting for half the day and eating normal, or at least more moderately the rest of the day. But that's another strategy one can use. So there are multiple diet strategies. There are multiple ways of doing this.
You know what I like? I prefer small little amounts, like 6 times a day, like every 2 to 3 hours.
And that works very well with our diabetics because they don't get their blood sugar spike.
Exactly. And the other thing too is that you don't starve. Because sometimes with the fasting, I mean, I've done it as well. I've gone through cleanses and I'm starving. Yeah, and it's not fun.
Which is interesting because it brings up another point. Okay. Many times when people feel that they're hungry, they're not really hungry. Actually, they're thirsty. They actually need water. So I tell my patients, for example, if you're trying to lose weight, especially now, the holiday period, we're all going to holiday parties, we're all going out to your grandmother, your aunt, your uncle, and the extravagant meals with all these things that we probably should not be eating.
Yeah.
I tell them, what before you start your meal, have a glass of water. Have 2 glasses of water. Just get the metabolism moving. Fill yourself up so that way you're not eating so much.
Yes.
And throughout the meal, just replenish your water. Yeah. Just keep drinking.
But you know something, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not because you're hungry. It's because the food tastes so good. Yes.
Tastes so good.
So, you can drink as much water as you want, but boy, I've got to tell you, sometimes those taste buds just take over.
No, 100%. And which means that you need other strategies. So other things I tell my patients, for example, is, don't reach for the huge buffet plate. Reach for, a smaller plate. Maybe only fill it, tell them you cannot go back for seconds. Make a hard and fast rule. Make yourself accountable. Have your significant other, your spouse, your friend, hold your feet to the fire and say, listen, you're only going up there once. That's it. You can have a little bit of everything, but that's it.
Oh, my goodness. Harry, that could create a war. How many spouses are in wars because they're holding somebody else accountable, and sometimes when they're not even holding themselves accountable.
Well, that's the biggest part. You have to do this for yourself. You're not doing it for anyone else.
Yes,
it's for your own body. If you're not going to do it, who will?
That's exactly my point, and I preach it.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you so much, All County Healthcare, for sponsoring this show. We bring on the professionals, the experts in their field, and they help teach us and educate us what we need to know so that we can make the proper choices for our lifestyle. And not only that, but to maintain our health and what we need to do in order to create that quantity of life and to be fulfilled and satisfied in that life that we've created. So I just wanted to say thank you, All County Healthcare. And if you happen to have a loved one that needs at-home health care, whether it's private duty or skilled nursing for your 65 and over parent or maybe yourself, please give All County Healthcare a call. It's 888-717-7170, ask for Maddie. She would love to answer any of the questions that you might have concerning your health care. And if she doesn't have the answers, let me tell you, she's very knowledgeable. She can get them. Absolutely. And if you have any questions for our doctor tonight, our holistic cardiologist, please give us a call tonight at 888-565-1470, 1470. We would love to hear from you as well. And in case we're off air and you have a question for him, call Maddie. She can always get a hold of him for you.
Funny.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what are some of the other things that we need to look at this moment? I know that I had mentioned supplements.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how you help your patients with supplements.
Oh, that's interesting. A number of years ago, I was in practice, and a patient would walk in with a whole big bag full of supplements. And I said to myself at that point in time, okay, I got to understand what the heck is going on here. Yeah. Because there are supplements out there that are excellent, that are wonderful, that do amazing things, and then there are supplements that may not be so appropriate depending on the patient. So after doing some research and then doing some educational fulfillment for myself, there's a realization that certain things that everyone should pretty much take, as long as you're not allergic to those supplements. For example, omega-3 fatty acids, fish oil. Fish oil is awesome for a number of reasons.
Yes.
Your body needs this fish oil to help produce the cell membrane, to help produce the outside of your cells. Helps you also with metabolism, in addition to producing certain hormones, bile salts. So omega-3 fatty acids are amazing. Other things I tell my patients are very good to take. Ubiquinol, or vitamin CoQ10, you probably have heard of it. Vitamin CoQ10 is responsible for helping your body make energy. And it's an interesting vitamin. Why am I saying it's interesting?
Yes.
Because many patients who are out there actually are taking medications that lower your vitamin CoQ10. Medications such as statins. Medications that lower your cholesterol.
Right.
Why is this so important? Because if you're taking a statin, if you're taking a medication that lowers your CoQ10, you can end up with aches and pains, and you don't feel right taking these medications. And that's a lot of times patients will come to me and say, listen, I can't take this medicine because it hurts, my legs are hurting me, my back is hurting, my arms are hurting me. And the reason why is because they're not supplementing their vitamin CoQ10.
Isn't that interesting?
They've depleted their stores.
Oh my goodness.
So if you actually supplement them with CoQ10 or ubiquinol, the active form of this vitamin, those disappear, those go away. And so these are the types of patients, at least, who are taking statins or taking certain types of medications, beta blockers. Even just living will deplete your CoQ10 stores. So everyone should be on some form of vitamin CoQ10 or ubiquinol.
Okay, well, that's really good.
Other things I tell my patients, believe it or not, in South Florida, which is quite interesting, which you'd never in a million years ever expect. A lot of people are vitamin D, as in dog, deficient. Yes. They're vitamin D deficient. And probably the reason why is because we're not sunbathing like we used to. Many of us are slathering on that sunblock.
Yes.
And vitamin D is extremely important in metabolism, preventing cardiovascular disease, maybe in certain types of cancers. So vitamin D supplementation also is something that one should highly consider if they are vitamin D deficient. Other types of supplements, magnesium is great for sleep. It's also great for helping people get into that Zen-like zone. Those are the big ones, including a B complex vitamin, very, very good as well to help with cardiovascular health, lowering homocysteine levels, another marker of inflammation.
Excellent. So, if you go get paper, get a pen, and write these down, okay? The omega fatty acids, that's one of them. The vitamin D. Magnesium. CoQ10, that's a real important one. I've not heard that one before.
Really?
Yeah, but that's impressive.
Okay.
And which other one?
Those are the main ones I tell my patients.
Okay.
But then what will happen is after doing an analysis, looking at their blood tests, I'm able actually to see whether or not we need to supplement with other things. So, for example, many patients who come to my office tell me, I had my blood test done like last week and everything's perfectly fine, everything's perfectly normal. And usually what will happen is I'll have them bring in their results and we'll go through them and I'll look at them and I'll say, listen, it may appear to be that everything is normal, but as I start sifting through the data, it looks like you're actually turning into a diabetic.
Oh my goodness.
And there's certain subtle changes in the labs that we see that will tell me whether or not you are proceeding in that path whether or not you have what we call dysmetabolic syndrome. Some people call it insulin resistance. Some people call it sugar problems. So in those patients, we'll actually, believe it or not, give them certain vitamin supplements that will help improve their sugar control, help improve and reverse possibly their potential for becoming diabetic.
I love that. So please tell our audience how to get a hold of you, because that's really important news.
Sure. I can be found at Nano Health Associates.
Say that a little slower.
Nano Health Associates.
Okay.
Our phone number there, 954-980-0361. We're located in Hollywood on Washington Boulevard.
Do you have a website?
We have a website. It's www.nanohealthassociates, one word, .com. And you can find our personal information over there.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. And it's just so important to take such good care of your heart.
Yeah.
And plus doing the cardio, doing the strength training as well, that's really important. And especially for elderly, a lot of times they don't end up coming out and enjoying themselves very much. So thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
It was fun. And we learned something as All County Healthcare brings on these experts in their field. We get to learn something about our health and how to maintain that health, how to give that health everything that we have so that we can be here and enjoy life, especially in the later years. So thank you again for joining us. I'm Lorena Anderson, your life and energy coach. You can visit us here. We're streaming live every Tuesday between the hours of 6 and 7 on 1470 AM and also 95.3 FM. And also Tuesdays, 11 o'clock, 3 o'clock p.m. in case you've missed our show. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for letting us share with you a longer and healthier lifestyle. If you have a doctor or are a doctor and wish to be on the show, call AMP2 TV at 866-244-5422, and we will put you on the air as soon as possible. Tune in next week for more information on living longer and having a healthier life. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly